Shaw's 12-inch by 24-inch luxury vinyl tile with Versalock AG technology is relatively quick and easy to install and ready to walk on immediately. The locking mechanism reliably secures the flooring panels on all 4 sides without adhesive. This is a floating installation system, therefore, an expansion gap at least the thickness of the product must be maintained around the perimeter and any stationary objects. Recommended expansion gap is 1/4 inch. Door jambs must be undercut high enough to allow the tile to float and deep enough to maintain the expansion gap. Standard site conditions are required. The floor should be smooth, permanently dry, and free of any contaminants, with the temperature maintained between 65 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit before, during, and after the installation. The flooring should be acclimated in the area to be installed for a minimum of 48 hours away from direct sunlight and air handling vents. Rectangular tile are usually installed with a long side parallel to the longest wall. Measure the width of the area to determine the width of the last row of tile. It is preferable to have the first and last rows close to the same width and not less than half of a tile. If you determine the last row will be less than 6 inches wide, trim your start row accordingly. The goal is to achieve a random visual, therefore, always work from a minimum of 3 cartons at a time. Facing the start wall, you will be working left to right. Start the first row with the long side tongue facing the wall. Continue by angling the short side or end tongue of the second tile into the end groove of the first. The joint will lock when the second tile is lowered to the floor. Complete the row, making certain the tiles are kept straight. Measure for the last tile in the row and cut it to size by scoring and snapping. The last tile should never be less than 6 inches long. If the last piece is too short, adjust the first piece in the row and reinstall the row. Tile end joints are usually shifted either 1/3 or 1/2 of a tile. The first tile in the row is cut down in length to create the desired end seam stagger and placed by engaging the long tongue into the side groove of the first row and rotating the tile to the floor. For the remaining tiles in the row, engage the shorter end joint first, as close to the side of the installed tile as you can, and pull or pop the side tongue and groove together. To allow the short side to move easier during installation, rub the underside of the tongue on the new tile with a paraffin wax. Another option is to rub the paraffin onto the groove of the last installed tile. 2 or 3 strokes are sufficient to greatly reduce the friction between the 2 edges. After locking the first 2 rows together, slide the assembled flooring against spacers at the start wall. At this time, verify the first row is straight by ensuring the tightness of all joints. It is much easier to install the tile by working on top of the new floor. Continue in this manner for the remainder of the floor. In many cases, the end pieces provide start pieces and start cuts provide end pieces. When door jambs or other obstacles prevent lifting the tile sufficiently to engage the tongue in the groove, trim the ridge off of the edge of the groove on both the short and the long sides of the adjacent tiles and apply a bead of super glue or any ethyl cyanoacrylate adhesive to the remaining groove and slide the new tile into place. A pull bar or a scrap piece of tile used as a tapping block may be used to ensure a tight seam. Apply blue painter's tape to hold the seam together and place a weight on the seam to keep it flat until the glue dries. Remember to maintain the expansion gap on all sides, stagger seams, and work from multiple boxes. A pull bar or a pry bar may be needed for the last row. That's it! Your floor is now ready to be lived on.